I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode. I am so happy that you're here because guess what? We have a returning guest, and I love him so much. And I know you do too, because he is just a great guy. He has some amazing content out there on the internet. You probably found him on TikTok if you found him a long time ago. He makes tons and tons of sewing and quilting videos. He makes his own shirts. He now has his own dyes with AccuQuilt. And you know him as Rose City Originals. Welcome, Chris Marchini. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to have you back on the show.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah. We were just kind of chit-chatting and you've just had so many cool things going on just since the time you were on the show, which was probably like what, almost 2 years ago?
I think so. Time is a blur. I don't even know what's going on.
I know there's sometimes I'm like, oh, I should have that person back on the show. I'm like, but they were just on. And then I look and I'm like, oh, it's actually been like a year and a half, or it's been 2 years. And it's weird how time just kind of lost all meaning during COVID lockdown stuff. And
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, well, I'm glad you're here. And we both just went to QuiltCon and had a great time. And so that was really fun to see you in your element and see all your different outfit changes and all the fun stuff. And you were working at the AccuQuilt booth, showing off your new dyes that they designed to work with your patterns. So that's really cool.
Very exciting.
And your fancy, cute little sticker that they made of you. I was dying.
Right there. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so fun. I had no idea they were doing that. It just showed up. I was like, I'm obsessed with this sticker.
I mean, who doesn't want a cutie pie caricature like version of you?
Right. And it even has like little tattoos on the arms. And it's just it's so fun. They did such a great job with it.
That's so cute. So, I mean, we don't have to start it all the way at the beginning because we've already been there, but I just want to talk about all your new stuff that's going on because you just have like so many cool things happening and I don't know where you want to start, but.
I mean, you already brought up AccuQuilt, so we can start there. So I am now a licensed dye designer with AccuQuilt. Like I do pretty much everything that you can do with AccuQuilt. I'm one of their ambassadors, which they call go-getters. I'm one of their educators, so it's a go guru, a pattern designer, now a dye designer. Like I am fully into AccuQuilt. And it's
go off, girl.
Right. So the two dyes we have out now are for my quilted trucker hat, which that was my first dye release with them. And that was prompted by my quilted trucker hat pattern. I wore a trucker hat at 2024's QuiltCon. I have to think of what year we're in. And I got chatting with the product director and she's like, ooh, like we could do one of your hats. I was like, okay, sure. So like that was in February and then we launched it in October. Okay. That was super exciting. I love it because it makes cutting it out like infinitely faster. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then just a couple weeks ago, we launched the bow tie dye. So it's to make like an actual bow tie you wear, but you can use it for other projects too. And that was I was making a bow tie last year for a gala my husband and I were going to, and like cutting it out and then snipping all the curves was just a pain. I was like, this is stupid. Like I want to make more bow ties, but I don't want to be doing this. So I reached out to them with the idea and now we have a bow tie dye.
That is so cool. And that was like a make and take at the AccuQuilt booth at QuiltCon, right?
Yeah, we were making little felt versions of it. So a little no-sew make and take.
Yeah, that was so cute. And just like seeing everybody with them on their lanyards. And I didn't get to make one because I didn't stop for really anything. I
kept seeing you just like whizzing by everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of, I don't know. It was just so like, I felt like this one was so different for me than the first, like last year. Cause last year was my first one. And then this year knowing kind of the lay of the land better and kind of understanding how it all works and just being with different people and seeing different people. And I was just like on a mission to like cover every square inch of that building. Which
is hard to do.
Yeah. But it was fun. And I did stop by though, because I wanted to see you and I wanted to see Ray, and it was a good time.
Yes.
But that was really cute. So I guess like what could you speak to like what all goes into actually designing the die? Like, I mean, I know we know how to cut out fabric, but like what's that process like?
So I think for me, it was a lot easier than maybe some other designers because I already had like a CAD file of all the shapes because it's printed out and like included in the pattern when you buy just the pattern, like you would like a McCall's or a Butterick pattern has the tissue. Mine's just on regular paper, but it's got all the shapes. So I already had it in like a CAD format. So I just sent that to them and they arranged it on the die board. For the die, we did add notches everywhere that there was like a dash or a dot to mark on the paper pattern. Because like on the paper pattern, you trace it, then you have to like make little marks so you know where to line stuff up. And we just replaced that with notches, but the team did that. I was like, you can figure that part out.
Yeah.
It was, I think on my side, it was really easy. There was only one change made after the first test dies came out, and that was on the fabric for the brim. We just cut off a dog ear because that's what AccuQuilt does. And other than that, like I feel a pretty smooth process. No hiccups. So
Yeah.
I like
That's so cool. Yeah. Well, and I guess that makes sense. Like you already have the design. So, because you made your pattern already. So you did the hard part before.
Right.
They were like, hey, can you design a hat? And you were like, oh shit, I don't know what to do. But you'd already done that. So
Exactly. Yeah.
you're like, you're welcome, AccuQuilt. How about the bow tie? Like, was that something that you were self-drafting or was that?
Yeah, I did. And the same thing. Well, I had just put it on paper. Like I cut a piece of paper out on my first one because I kind of traced an existing bow tie like that I had from forever ago. But I had to change it a bit because for my bow tie, you use Velcro to like attach it in the back. So it's not like a full loop.
Yeah.
Which is so much easier to tie. And you only have to tie it once. So I had the paper and then I just traced it out in CAD and sent that to them. So
Okay.
pretty easy.
Nice. That's awesome. And I think just that like idea of cutting out the shape that so you don't have to sit there with a scissor or trace anything. Cause I feel like with templates too, unless you're buying like the acrylic templates for specific shapes of things, like even making your own, it's like every little inaccuracy ends up showing up when you're sewing things together. And so to be able to just have it, you just run it through the die cutter and call it good. Like I obviously like crafty girl, like we had a Cricut, all this stuff. But the thing that like my mom's even still has and has hung on to is the Sizzix because it's essentially the same thing, like, but just for paper crafting. But we've used it so many times to like, we would cut out like little hearts to add on to like embroidered labels that clients would have us make for the backs of their quilts, and just other little things like there's a 3.5-inch square and a 4-inch square, and depending on the size of the die cutter. And I'm like, oh, AccuQuilt's just like a really cool Sizzix, like a better Sizzix because you can cut out quilt patterns. Like
Right. So it's the same concept. It's the die cutting with the steel blades, but with AccuQuilt, like they add the 1/4-inch seam, they'll pre-clip dog ears. There's notches on corners. Like it's geared to quilting, so they have all of those things in mind when they're designing their dies.
Right. It's like upgraded
Right.
from what you would think of like your at-home die cutting setup, which is so cool because like as a quilter, you want those things. You want those dog ears clipped. You want that 1/4-inch seam allowance. You don't want to have to factor that in when you're like, okay, well, I have this one die. Can I make it work for this pattern? No, because I need this. And it's like, becomes this whole thing. And AccuQuilt's like, we got you. We already did the quilt math. We already figured it out.
And I love them for that because quilt math, I can do it, but it's not my favorite.
Right. And it slows down the process of like you getting to the part you want to do, which is making the fun stuff. So that's really cool. And how fun. You've got your fingers in all the pies. You're like, where's my yearly salary, please?
Right. I think that's like the next step because I don't know if there's anything more I can do without being like an actual AccuQuilt employee.
Right. You're like, do I switch careers now? That's so fun. How fun. Do you have any more kind of dies in the works or anything you're thinking about? Like,
I do have one for sure in the works that will come out later this year, so I can't talk much about it. And I actually just recently submitted another idea for one for probably next spring. We'll see.
okay.
We'll see if they go with it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No details you can share. Give us a
No,
little
no.
sneak. No, dang.
Gotta keep secret.
Fine.
They will be fun
Fine.
though. They will
Yeah.
be fun.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to hold our breath and wait. It's fine. No, that's so fun. And like, I mean, I love tools and gadgets in quilting. I don't have an AccuQuilt because it's just one more thing that I don't have space for, but I can appreciate it. And I think, watching you use it to make the community quilts that you made and like really just utilize it and make it a forefront of like, look at how accessible and easy this is. And I think that's also such a cool piece about the AccuQuilt and tools like it is that it brings a level of accessibility to quilting
Mhm.
that maybe if you struggle with mobility or your hands and like with cutting fabric and things like the isn't it don't they have like an automatic one that you can just push a button
Yep.
and it feeds the
They
die
have the
through?
electric one. Yeah.
Electric one. Okay. So there's even that to like you don't have to do the hand crank even. And I love that aspect of it. I think money wise it's kind of hard for maybe
Yeah,
some
and
people.
like I get comments all the time about that, like folks that struggle with cutting, whether it's just they don't have the hand strength or just it's just a struggle for them. But then also mobility issues where they can't turn the handle. So like they love the idea of the AccuQuilt and it is an investment.
Mhm.
So when people ask me like which dies to get, like which to start with or whatever, I always recommend the 8-inch cube, which
Mhm.
is it's 8 dies and it's like squares, half square triangles, quarter square triangle. There's a parallelogram and a rectangle. And the reason I like the 8-inch is because it has a 2-inch finished and a 4-inch finished half square triangle, which is a
Oh.
pretty common size in a lot of modern patterns. So you can just kick those out without having to like do the 2 at a time or 8 at a time or however the pattern has you do it, and just finish off with your 2-inch half square triangles and run with it. When people talk about the money, it is definitely investment. I use mine almost every day, so it's totally worth it to me and the way I do my quilting. But one of the keys is having it somewhere in your space that's easily accessible. Because I hear too many times they bought it and it's still in the box, or they used it once and now it's in the closet.
Mm.
Mine, like you can see some of my dies. That's actually my 8-inch cube right there because I use it so often for the community quilt. I actually bought a rack to just put them on the wall. Um, but I have my little cutter right down here, so I could just pick it up, cut, put it back. Like it's super easy. I have the electric cutter, but it's like in its bag over there, and I rarely use it because it takes up space that I don't really have.
Mhm.
So getting the one that fits your budget and your space is really important, so
Mhm.
that you use it because you spent the money. You want to get your money's worth out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good tip because I think we all want the fun, fancy gadgets and we all want the fun, fancy toys. But yeah, if your space isn't going to allow for easy access to it, then like, what's the point? And I have several things like that too, where I'm like, oh, there's that thing. I haven't even touched this because it can't, there's nowhere for it to be out in the open for me to actually use it. So, um, notes I'm keeping in my head as I'm like, one day I'm going to have a building that is not
Oh,
half
that
of
would
my
be a
garage.
dream. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're in your
Um,
garage too, right? Technically.
well, it used to be a garage,
Yeah.
like a fully enclosed room now, but it's about like 3/4 of a one-car garage.
Mm,
It's 12 feet by 14 feet. It's not very big. And it has a 10-foot long arm in it. So
yeah.
that takes up a lot of space.
That's pretty much what I'm working with too. So
Yeah,
it's a little dicey, but you got to do what you got to do.
exactly.
I love that. So okay, we've mentioned the community cult. So we talked about it when you were on the show last time because you'd been doing it, but I feel like it's even more popular now and you've raised so much money for the Trevor project with it, which is so cool. So talk let's talk about it more and just
Okay. Yeah,
get
so
out
I'm
of
on
it.
my third year of the community quilt. The 2024 community quilt turned out 60% larger than the 2023 community quilt. It was 96 inches square, 144 blocks, and 306 envelopes I received of fabric from around the world.
Yeah.
So far for 2025, I've only made 2 blocks. I need to kick it in so I don't have a crunch time at the end of the year again. But
Yeah.
I've already received, I think it was like 214 envelopes
Wow.
in March. I'm glad that this year I did bring in the due date by a month. So deadline to submit fabric is September 30th, right? Yes. Okay. I'm like, does September have 31 days? No, I don't remember.
No.
September 30th.
Hmm.
So I am still accepting. And this year, I don't know how big the quilt's going to be or if we're going to end up with multiple quilts.
Okay.
Like I'll just, when people ask, I'll tell them, I'm just going to keep making blocks. And then whenever I run out of fabric, however many blocks I have left, we'll figure out, is it 1 quilt? Is it 2 quilts? Is it a big quilt and a throw quilt? Like
Hmm.
we'll figure it out then because I'm just going to keep making blocks.
Yeah. I love that. And I know like for the 2024 quilt, you tried to use as many of the bigger pieces left over in the backing as well.
And I still have a bucket full of scraps. Yes.
Wow.
So like some people this year have even commented, like I sent extra for the backing or the binding. I appreciate that, but you probably don't need to do that because just the little bits add up.
They
When I
really
have
do.
306 people sending me fabric, like it adds up. But I have ideas for last year's scraps, so we'll
Oh,
see how it comes together.
yeah.
I have an idea for a quilt that I'll hopefully be able to submit to QuiltCon. We'll see. I've
Ooh.
never actually had a quilt at QuiltCon, so it would be really nice.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And like something cool, like, because it is a community project. So then to be able to show off, whatever your idea is, to show off fabrics from all these people who contributed to something
Right.
that is helping our community.
Yeah, and like this project has evolved so far beyond anything I could have imagined. It started with my randomly generated quilt, which
Hmm.
was just me working out of my scrap bin, rolling the dice, picking a pattern, rolling the dice again to pick colors. And it got so popular, and people were like, I want to play along with you. I want to, be part of this. So I had this idea, to ask people to send me fabric, and I'm like, that's silly. I'm not going to ask random strangers on the internet. No one's going to send me anything.
Ah,
And someone on Instagram actually messaged me and basically laid out the same idea I had. I was like, okay, well, if someone took the time to message me,
mhm,
maybe there's some validity to this. So I got a PO box because I wasn't going to put my actual address out on the internet,
mhm.
and like it started pouring in. It was incredible. And that was the 2023 quilt. Like I announced it in January of 2023 that I was going to do that. And that was successful. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it again. People were begging for it for 2024. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it again. Picked my patterns, opened up submissions. And then for this year, I had already planned on doing it again just because it's a really popular project. I really love it. Last year, we raised over $11,000 for the Trevor Project.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I want to keep this going as long as I can. But this year, I also wanted to encourage others to do similar projects because I got lots of questions last year, like, hey, I want to do it too with like my local guild or my local group or whatever. Can I do that? I'll credit you. I'm like, go do it. Yes. Like the more people I feel I can get making community quilts, whether they are donating the quilt to a charity or using it to do a fundraiser or whatever, they're
Mhm.
getting their community together. That's what this is all about. So this year I actually wrote my own pattern book for it, which
Oh,
has
yeah.
been very well received. I'm actually needing to go pick up another batch. My printer just finished, so I have 200 more on the way. It's
Okay.
I've never thought I would sell so many, but I love it. They're super simple patterns. They're 8-inch blocks.
Yeah.
I have them numbered 1 through 20. You roll the dice, and you go with it. So I'm think from now on, like I'll write a pattern book for each year. It's got like a little like opening, like what the project's about, how it works, all that
Yeah.
fun stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so cool. And like, so because you're using your AccuQuilt dies, does that mean that like if anybody else wants to make it, they need to have the same dies, or do you have instructions for how to make the blocks without?
So that's one reason I did my own pattern book because it does have rotary cutting instructions.
Okay.
So before I was just using block patterns off the AccuQuilt website. which was fine. Like a lot of these are the same patterns, but I've specifically written this book to have the rotary cutting instructions and also assuming you only have a 6-inch square of each color. So a lot of it is just changing the coloration, like where your pieces are going to go in the block. Because I'm just going to assume you only have this little piece. You don't have a quarter yard of one color to do all the background for this star block or whatever. So,
Right. Okay.
yeah,
That's
so it's
awesome.
specific to this project, but also those rotary cutting instructions I really wanted to have in there so anyone can sew along.
Okay. Well, that's great. And like, I love that people want to get involved because that's, calling something a community, but being like, only my community can do it feels silly. But also just that there is so much interest that other people want to do it too. I think is so great because it takes people from all over the place continuing, projects and continuing or doing something similar in their own local communities
Mhm.
to keep movements happening. So I love that you found a way to open that up for people and to get other people involved because that's such a cool way for bees to interact and for
Mhm.
guilds to interact if they're small enough. But it sounds like with however many blocks you end up, a bigger guild could participate if everybody took one block
Oh,
to make.
absolutely. And like with the big guild, this could be like a weekend project almost. Like everyone just come in,
Hmm.
roll the dice. This is your block, go make it. And then, you have
Yeah.
100 blocks to sew together.
Yeah. How fun. Yeah, like my not my local modern guild, but the other local guild that I participate in, we always have like a raffle quilt
Mhm.
that helps like raise money for our quilt show at the end of September and all this stuff. But that would be such another fun like way for us to raise money for something in the community, like or just any guild really. Like, I mean, because you raise money specifically for the Trevor project, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I mean, I guess other people could also do that as well because it's
Yeah.
not like mutually exclusive. Like you don't have to only do that with your project. But do you find that like people who are participating in their own communities, are they also contributing to Trevor Project or are there other?
Some are. I know there is one person, I don't know where they are, but they've commented a couple times they're doing it for their local cat rescue.
Oh,
So they're like trying to do like a cat themed fabric version of it, which I think is amazing. Um, and then just local, like I think it's gotten down to more of a local level, which is
okay.
great. I chose the Trevor Project because fabric was coming in from everywhere. I wanted it to benefit everywhere. And the Trevor Project is a nationwide organization, and I think they have branches in Canada also.
Okay.
Trying to find a worldwide organization was next to impossible. I could not find one that kind of aligned with what I was looking for. So
Sure.
nationwide was the next best thing. Um,
Hmm.
but hearing people using this project for local, like to benefit their local community, I absolutely love because that's really what I wanted to have happen is getting down to those local, whether it's a charity organization, whatever. They so often get overlooked because it might be part of a small community and only those in that community know of this organization. So if
Right.
people can do the quilt, whether they're donating it to the organization or doing a fundraiser of some sort, like we're getting help to those that need it. So,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. I'm I'm like stepping into my like participation era of I'm trying to get loud, I'm trying to be more vocal and more yeah, participatory in craftivism and
mhm.
trying to like have a voice beyond just making pretty things like the kind of soft rebellion I think people are calling it
Yeah.
with using textile art to protest and to say this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah. And I feel like this project has brought that out in me.
Mm,
I remember several years ago, um, I think it was on TikTok, there was like a pride craft thing. So like every day you posted something about like pride crafts. And one
mhm.
of them was how you showed your activism or your voice. I was like, I don't really. Like I'm here, I'm openly gay, I'm quilting on the internet. So like my presence is somewhat a form of protest, but
Sure.
um I'm a very non-confrontational person. So like going out to a protest and being super boisterous in like putting my views out there is hard for me. But yeah, this project is kind of like that soft protest. Like I make no apologies that I'm raising money for an LGBTQIA support group. You know, I am openly gay, like I said, and it just this is what it is. You can participate or not. I'm not
Right.
forcing anyone to, but this I will continue, you know, supporting them, doing this project. And I feel like I've gotten huge community support to be able to do this project. And it's kind of pushed me into that realm, which I appreciate because I didn't know how to get into that realm, even though I wanted to, but like some way that was natural for me because I didn't want to
Yeah.
be forced. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the hard thing too, is like, am I just, at least what plays in my mind sometimes is like, is this authentically me? Am I just parroting someone else? What do I really feel about this? Am I just mad right now? Do I need to just calm down? I mean, yeah, I'm mad. I'm fucking mad. Like, you know, and I think, but there are ways I'm pretty non-confrontational too. Like it makes me really sweaty to think about like,
yeah,
I'm not going to protest. Like I love that other people feel that urge and like they want to go be out there. And like lately there have been lots of protests at the state capitol just down the street from my house. Like I'm not that far away from it, but I'm not gonna my physical body, like I don't know that I'm going to go do that. But I'm also like, I have a platform, I have a podcast, I have a quilting business. Like I'm going to stand up for what my beliefs are. And I'm going to kindly ask people to exit themselves if they don't align with it or if they can't get on board with it. So, like, and I have the privilege to be able to do that. So,
I've had some of those conversations this year, you know, people that maybe disagree with some of my decisions. I'm like, you don't have to follow me.
yeah.
Like, I'm not so obsessed with my follower count on the different platforms. If I lose even 100 followers, they weren't the right followers for me.
You're like, I bid you adieu.
Right. So you can leave. I want the right followers following me.
Yes.
So I did, when I announced this year's quilt, I made one change, and that was I specifically asked for no Harry Potter fabric. It's because of J.K. Rowling and her stance on trans people.
Yeah.
And last year I got some. I did not include it in the quilt. I just
Oh, good.
set it aside.
Quietly, yeah, quietly put that over in the
In the
corner.
2023 quilt, there was some, and
Mm.
I mean, it was the first time doing it. 2023 was my first quilt, and I didn't know how to handle it, so I just included it in the quilt. And
Right.
the comments I got about that, I was like, I don't disagree, but I
Yeah.
have not set any precedents that I wasn't going to use certain fabrics. So
Right.
this year's announcement video, I did specifically say that. I just real quick, you know, we're not going to do Harry Potter, and this is why. And then there
Yes.
was a whole discussion on Facebook about that.
Mm,
And it was really nice because a lot of my community came through and just said, if you don't like Chris's rules, you don't have to participate. But I
100%.
basically, like, I responded, I told the person, if you don't like this, you don't have to follow me.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what it is. And until the author of the books changes their stance, I will keep my stance. So
Right.
I was hesitant to do that because I don't want to have to go through and like list out every little thing I won't do. Like, I don't want it to be a laundry list of like, don't include these.
Yeah.
And for the most part, like that's the only one that's been problematic. I haven't gotten any like weird fabric, like with, I don't know, like drugs and sex and all kinds of like weird stuff on it. Like people I feel are pretty respectful.
Hmm.
But Harry Potter specifically is a very important part of a lot of people's stories, a lot of their lives up till now. And I get that. And it's very unfortunate that we're in this situation. But,
Yes.
you know, I'm making this quilt specifically for LGBTQ youth. Like the organization
Hmm.
is specifically helping trans youth, which are a
Yes.
much higher rate of suicide. And to include that, I felt just was inappropriate. So
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Ooh, excuse me. I'm with you. I 100% agree. And it is heartbreaking because like Harry Potter was one of the things that like, you know, my junior English teacher in high school, like she would read the books to us before class every day. And that's how I discovered it. And then read it all through college, like as the books were being released. And so then to have the author spewing such ugly, ugly hatred all over the place and like digging herself deeper and deeper into the hole she's in, it just makes me sick because so many people and the LGBTQIA community, they found solace in that story.
Yep.
So
it's very unfortunate
for her to take that from so many of us. And like, I mean, I'm just a little straight white girl, so I mean, whatever, but my heart breaks for the people who that held so much meaning for. And I think it's fair to say we're not going to use this, because you're right. Like, you're supporting this community of people who need support, who need these resources just to keep themselves alive. So like, yeah, let's not include things that are going to like also support an anti force, right? Like something that's pushing for the opposite. And I'm totally with you on that. And I love that you felt confident enough in your project that you could make that statement and stand behind that and say, I'm not going to do this. Okay.
Right. Like, it was hard. And like, I debated it and I talked with my husband about it. He was fully on board with me saying it. And it was, I was prepared for backlash and I got very little, which I greatly appreciate, because that just shows me I have the right followers.
Yes.
There's a few oddballs out there, and that's fine. I'll get people following me who don't quilt, and they'll specifically say they don't quilt. They just enjoy the videos. They find them calming, which is still weird to me. I don't see myself as calming, but they like the video, so I'll just keep making them.
Yeah.
And I was fully prepared to like lose followers over it. And here we are. Yeah.
Minimal. Yeah. I love that. And I think too, that's something that like I struggled with as well. Cause I'm like, oh, I don't want it to hurt my business. I don't want it to hurt. And I'm like, but it will hurt my business more if I'm not showing up as my full self. If I can't step into what the business that I built, obviously with the help of my mom, but now it's just me.
Yep.
And what I'm continuing to build and continuing to grow, like if I can't show up as my full ass self and do what I need to do and support what I want to support, then to me, there's no point. There's no point for me to even show up with all of this in the first place.
Right.
And that's been hard. It is so scary, right?
It is, because like you'll see people on the internet who get canceled.
Yeah.
Over something. I mean, a lot of times it's valid, but still, it's usually something small.
Right.
So I think that just puts the paranoia in, especially like social media influencers, because it would be so easy for us to just get canceled overnight over something silly.
Right.
And you never know. But, if it's something I believe in, I'm going to stand by it, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Also, I just have to because you got so big from TikTok, like from your TikToks. And so the whole TikTok's going away and like everybody's forgetting. I mean, I was kind of in that boat, like, how dare you fucking take this away from us? Like, I was so mad. But the thing that got me so hard about all of that was the influencers who outed themselves for like the shit that they were lying about all this time. And now so many of them have lost so much sponsorship and platform. And like a lot of them just aren't even on TikTok anymore because they were too embarrassed to come back. And I was like, this is why if you don't show up as your whole self and bring your whole self to everything you do, you never know. Cause like that came back to bite so many people in the ass when it's like, if you were just yourself the whole time, and I get that like there's a pressure to like be super curated and be a certain way, and that's how you get sponsorships and that's how you get to be an influencer. But I'm like, absolutely not. Like,
I am very much not a curated individual. So it's right now the Instagram Quilt Fest for the month of March. And I think it was day 2 or 3. No, it was day 4, because I said day 3 and it was supposed to be day 4. But anyway, to show your space. And my space right now looks like a tornado just ripped right through my sewing room.
Hmm.
I was so busy prepping for QuiltCon and then the Oregon Quilt Festival. It's a mess. But I showed it anyway. And people were like, this makes me feel better because that's about what my room looks like.
Yeah.
This is honestly like what my room looks like 80% of the time.
Yeah.
I'll be busy creating something. I don't clean up after myself. I think most quilters and crafters can relate to that.
Uh-huh.
And like, I'm so in the project, I don't clean up after myself. And then when I'm done, I don't feel like cleaning up after myself. And then it gets to a point where now I don't feel creative because I'm surrounded by a mess. So it's like this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
But I think it's just part of the creative cycle.
Yeah.
But I've never been one to like make sure my posts are all cute and perfect. I keep it very real, which I have been told by a lot of followers just makes me feel more relatable,
Mhm.
which is why they follow me. So
Yeah.
a couple years ago, probably COVID changed it because COVID changed everything.
Yeah.
There's been like a shift in who people relate to on social media. And it's gone away from that super polished, curated look on Instagram, where you go to their feed and all the pictures like flow into each other and it's gorgeous and whatever,
Hmm.
to real
Hmm.
spaces, real people
Hmm.
making mistakes, fumbling through stuff. Like people like to watch that. That's kind of where social media has trended towards.
Hmm.
So, I have a couple ambassadorships and sponsorships with different companies, and most of them reached out to me like to be an ambassador for them.
Yeah.
So whatever I've been doing, apparently I've been doing it right. I tell people I have no idea what I'm doing because
Yeah.
I film what I'm doing, shrink it down to 60 seconds and post it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you're right. Like, I think during that time, especially during lockdown and stuff, seeing people's like curated, beautiful, it felt so disingenuous, at least to me.
Yeah.
And to strive for that in a time when we're like, when are we going to get to go outside again? I don't know if I'm going to get to see my family again. Like, it was months before I allowed myself to see my parents. And like, they live 4 miles away from me. It's like we're used to seeing each other every day, or not every day, but a lot, like
Right.
family get togethers, whatever. And it was like, I'm not risking it, And then nothing seemed important anymore. The things that seemed so important, like a curated Instagram page and perfectly lit videos and photos and whatever, like why does this even matter? Like,
Right.
what's the point? And so that shift, I think, for people, like, and the mental health crisis of facing that, like, you have to stop doing all the things that you do to mask your depression or to mask your anxiety and all these like coping mechanisms that you can't have anymore. So you have to face yourself. And that, I think, changed a lot of people too. It changed me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful for it. It sucked at the time. And I know it sucks still for a lot of people. Um, so I can only speak for my own experience, but for my own experience, this out of the suck came something really cool for me. So,
That's awesome.
but
Yeah.
I also, yeah, I'm here for the real. I'm here for the authenticity. And I know that that word gets thrown around and it feels like overused, but
Yeah.
I
That's
think
fine.
it's only overused by people who aren't authentic.
That is a very good assessment. Yes. So I think where I was going with all that is like I don't have anything to hide, so like I'm not going to be
Oh,
outing myself on TikTok because the app's going away.
yeah, yeah.
But like as I start to work with companies,
Hmm.
like I'm not gonna, not refer to my husband as my husband.
Right.
I'm doing something. I'm not going to hide the fact that I am openly gay. Like I'm not going to change who I am to be an ambassador for your company. So you
Hmm.
can take me as I am, or I'll just move on because in the quilting world, there's probably 3 others that do the exact same thing that you do. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. And I think that's like another piece of all of it is, are you going to sell yourself out just to get an ambassadorship or get a partnership with a company or a sponsorship? And like, I think that's another place where you have to know what your values are.
Hmm.
And that can be so tricky, especially when you're like, oh, but I want all these things, but I'm also scared of the rejection. So I can only imagine like that feeling, but also feeling empowered to say those things. Like, if you don't take all of this, then you can't have any of it.
And
So,
I think some people, especially at first, like, and I can even see myself at first falling into it. Like, it's just so exciting to being offered an ambassadorship. Like, you'll sign anything
yeah.
to get out there.
Mhm.
But, if you stay authentic up front, it might be hard to turn some stuff down, but I think in the end it will pay off because you will be running your brand the way that you want to. You're going to be presenting yourself the way that you want to. You're not going to be like owned by someone.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's important to me too. I I got hired 3 years in a row to make a quilt for the Chevron Corporation for their,
Oh, okay.
yeah, for their World AIDS Day gala that they have. And as much as I'm like, hell yeah, AIDS research, let's do this. Like, the, it felt, like I don't want to be contributing to this performative bullshit, because they go in and they destroy like communities of people and habitats and water systems, but they're going to turn around and be like, look how nice we are supporting
Right.
AIDS research. And I'm like, okay, I'd rather my time and my money and my efforts go towards a cause I actually am not like, I'm getting money from this oil company. It feels like blood money and I don't like it, you know?
Right. I could see that. Yeah. And I think, me being a gay man, because I have seen it others in the community, it happened to, like, being the token
Mm-hmm.
gay influencer for that company. So I'm
Yeah.
very like, it's on my radar every time I talk to someone. Like, is this me? Like, I'll look at who their other ambassadors are and what kind of, if it's like a sea of white women and then me, like,
Yeah.
that's a red flag. But if they
Right.
have diversity in their ambassadorship, then I feel a lot more comfortable signing on with them.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that was part of it too, is I'm like, I'm again, just this little straight white girl in Idaho. Like, what business do I have being a voice for AIDS funding and research? Like, that's not me, you know? Like, I mean, I love to support it and I love to be it, a part of contributing elsewhere, but it just felt so wrong. And I
Yeah.
started feeling the resentment build, and I was like, oh, it's because this doesn't go with my values. This doesn't align. And I get to say no, which was also, being raised super conservative, was like, I don't, that wasn't a thing. No was not really in my vocabulary.
Right. Yeah.
So that's been a shift, but I love seeing that, like, I mean, you doing what you do, it's like also could be permission for others to do what you're doing. Like, it's okay to show up as your full self. Look at all this good things that are happening, you know? And and I would imagine that companies, I mean, sure, they probably want someone's influence to help grow their business, but at the same time, I would think that they would want someone who was just themselves, who they weren't going to question, like, who's going to show up today, the influencer version or the real version,
Right.
and I think as companies and brands, it's smarter to partner with people who are truly themselves no matter what, because that consistency is always going to be there. And your community, like you were saying, is your true community because they support what you're doing and they feel heard and they feel like they're supporting a genuine effort to make the world a better place. So I love
Yeah.
that. Love that for you. Okay, so I want to talk quilt compassion. You said you didn't get to wear all of the shirts that you brought and matching hats and bow ties.
No, I think there were two shirts I did not wear. So one was Tabby Road Tula Pink, which I had worn at Houston Quilt Festival
Uh,
because Dee from Pixel Quilts and I had matching outfits.
yeah.
And then the other was just one of my AccuQuilt shirts.
Okay.
It was like an AccuQuilt print with like all the different die shapes on it.
Mm.
So I wore a total of two, four, I think 6 shirts, because my midday costume change on Thursday was into the eye candy from Ruby Star Society, the little balloon dogs.
Hmm.
Because Dee and I again were matching,
Yeah.
but the entire time we were matching, we could not find each other. Like it was insanely busy.
Yeah.
So we ended up re-wearing those on Sunday so that we can get a picture together, because that was a
Okay.
new outfit that we were matching in. So
Okay. Yeah. So funny. And like, that's like one of the things if I'm like introducing someone to you and your content and stuff, I'm like, and he makes his own shirts and they pattern match all the way down the buttons and the pockets and everything. And I'm just like, because that is a feat. And I feel like so many people make garments that don't line up because it's hard. But you've perfected it. So it's just like chef's kiss, like so good.
it's funny you bring that up. So on my AccuQuilt sticker, the
Mhm.
front placket, the print doesn't match up, and someone actually commented on that. But it's fine. It's just like little roses. Like you'd have to look for it, but I just thought it was funny.
You're like, I would never do that.
So when I first started making my shirts, I actually have a shirt. It's Tula Pink, the flamingos from Daydreamer,
Oh,
and it does
yeah.
not match up. Like it's way off because I didn't know how to match it up yet. So I never wear that shirt. Like it's hanging in the closet. It never gets worn. I think I'm gonna remake it because I love the print,
Mhm.
but I'm like, if I wear that on video, like people are gonna rip me apart.
Yeah. You can't go back now.
Right? Yeah. I
You've
do have a
made,
couple that don't line up, but it's a super busy print. Like there's a orange with pink like leopard prints on it.
oh,
You'd have to stop and look to try and find that it's not lined up.
sure. Like, and that's like, that's understandable. Animal print and stuff, unless it's like zebra stripes, but it is kind of random and it, I feel like that's fine. But yeah, if it's like Tula's
Like this.
motifs and
Like this
yeah,
one all lines up because it's a larger print. Yeah, Tula
yeah,
has to.
has to.
Um, yeah.
Cause yeah, it's like otherwise if you know, because she makes those beautiful medallion motifs, it's like very obvious if they're not lined up. So
Yes.
I appreciate the effort you make because it's
Oh,
very
thank you.
aesthetically pleasing. And that is calming because you know what? It's so nice to see a complete image down the front of someone's shirt instead of a mismatched print that doesn't line up because that is bothersome.
Right. Which is all you get for like mass produced garments. So
Exactly. Exactly. So the custom detail oriented work you do is just so good. So, so good. And so fun that you and D try to match. And like, I don't know why was this year at QuiltCon so chaotic? I feel like I saw so many more people last year. And I saw so many people this year, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like I kept seeing like the same repeat people last year more often. And this
mhm.
year I was like, there were some people I'm like, how did I not see you? Like people I
There were some,
know.
like, had I known you were there, like, I would have made an effort to like hunt you down. With D, it's because this year she was teaching
She
also.
was so
So
busy.
she was super busy. I was mostly at the AccuQuilt booth or wandering around the vendor area.
Yeah.
But yeah, this year was a lot more chaotic. Uh, yeah, I don't know why, but it definitely did feel more chaotic this year.
And I almost feel like maybe like the show and vendor floor was bigger.
Yes, I think the aisles were wider. Definitely in the quilt area.
Yeah,
Last year in Raleigh, like it felt a little confined.
it was cramped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the spread outness of it kind of maybe kept us out of proximity of some. I don't know. It was so weird, but
Maybe.
it's fine. It's fine. But it did feel like a lot crazier in that sense. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to find people, but I can't find anybody, and whatever. I mean, we're going back to Raleigh next year, so
We'll compare it like Raleigh to Raleigh. Yeah.
that'll be kind of fun.
I'm looking
Uh,
forward. I love QuiltCon.
I know. It's so fun. It's so fun. And I get like people feeling left out and like the FOMO. And it's like, I get it. I had the FOMO too. And I was like, I want to go. I want to go. And now that I've been, I'm like, okay, like it's super fun, but that feeling is gone. And even if I didn't go next year, I don't think I'd I think I'd still be okay with it. It's like you just need to get it out of your system, experience it once, and then it's like, okay.
That's how I feel about like Quilt Market
Mm,
and H&H America.
okay.
And I don't think I'm going to go to H&H this year. I've been on the fence, but like I have a lot of other things I'm taking PTO for this year off
Oh,
of
yeah.
my normal day job. So I'm like, I don't think I can swing that one also.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. It's a lot because it's like you're not just walking away from your house and like coming back and it's fine. It's like there's so many logistical things, especially because you have such a large presence on online and you're doing so much, with your ambassadorships and all that and working a day job. Like it takes a lot. So to plan those trips, I know I'm like, well, I want to go to Quilt Market and I want to go to H&H because I've never been to either one of those either. But I'm like, can I really swing another like quilt trip like that? And I'm just
Right.
like, I don't think I can. It was already even just to take the weekend. I was only at QuiltCon like Thursday, or I flew in Thursday night and then I was there Friday, Saturday and left Sunday morning. So like
Okay.
I wasn't there the full time like I was last year, but I felt like extra pressure. And thankfully, I did clean up my space before I left because I was like, I cannot come back to a mess because it will take me so much longer to just like get back into working.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I did that because one, I was able to just jump in there on Monday and work. Then two, I got so sick on Tuesday morning. So then, but my space was still ready to go when I started feeling better this week and like
Yeah.
was able to get back in there. But I'm like, I can't do that again. Like that was too much. And now I'm behind and all this stuff. I'm like, because what if I got sick again? And what if it's like all these things and
It
money.
takes a lot of planning. Like I had to like plan like what videos am I going to be posting
Mm,
while I'm gone, and when I get back, like what projects am I going to pick up and prep time for that. And I
yeah.
still feel behind, but whatever.
Yeah. How far in advance do you film stuff? Like, do you have, you know,
Typically a day. Like I'll film today and post tomorrow. I
uh,
am not good at planning ahead.
okay. Yeah, I'm not either. I don't know how people do it. They're like, oh, I'm planning content for next month. I'm like, how the fuck? Like, I don't.
That's not me. That's very much not me. Like I'll have that good idea,
Mm,
but like it doesn't happen.
yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah. Same. Okay. I don't feel so alone now. Like
Okay.
I cannot get my shit together. I'm not a social media maven, so I'm on it a lot, but I don't know how to use it. No, I'm just kidding. But again, it's that like, do I want to sit there for hours editing and like making things perfect, or am I just gonna like film whatever's happening at this moment and post it and call it good? And
That's
that's
what I
kind
do. Just
of
slap
my
it
vibe.
together and post it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. And I think because you're so consistent, like it probably gets easier and like you can like, okay, I'm just gonna film this little clip and this little clip and this little clip and like what you can get cram into like a 60-second and like what pieces of what you're doing to post and what does well. Whereas I'm just like, I don't know, dude.
I think that's another reason I really like the Community Quilt, because each
Mm,
episode or each block like has the same structure to the video. So
yeah.
I got it kind of down to a science by the end. So it's easy to film, easy to edit, good to go. Where other
Yeah.
things like, okay, what kind of angle do I want to show, like sewing curves
Mm,
or whatever new project I'm making, what do I want to show? I have
yeah.
to think about it more. Whereas the Community Quilt, like it's already set. So
Yeah.
those ones are nice, like filler for me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so fun. So fun. So cool. Okay. So you said you have some super top secret stuff coming out with AccuQuilt. What else do you have coming up that besides the community quilt, obviously, but like, do you have anything other?
What I'm trying for is getting on with a fabric company, like to be a
Mm,
fabric designer. Like that's my next big goal.
okay.
I do have fabric that I've produced myself. Like I've had it digitally printed. It's available on my website. Um, but I say my goal in life is to have spooky fabric, not Halloween fabric, but spooky fabric be a year-round thing.
Yeah.
So in all kinds of like bright colors, pastel colors, seasonal, whatever. It could be a fun floral, but happens to have like little skulls or spiders like hidden in there. Like that's my goal. And I say that to like fabric companies and they're not so on board with it.
Oh.
I think they're still very much like Halloween is Halloween.
Mm.
But I'll say that to other like sewists and quilters, and like their eyes light up and they're super excited. Like, yes, make that happen. I want that. So
Yeah.
I feel there's a market for it. I just need to convince a fabric company that there's a market for it so they can bring me on and I can design it. Because doing it myself, like, it's expensive. Like, I had to pay, thousands of dollars to get hundreds of yards printed and shipped to me. And then I cut it up and make bundles and whatever.
Yeah.
And I buy it at wholesale pricing, so I can't turn around and sell it to like quilt shops at wholesale pricing. And I would love to see it in quilt shops. I
Right.
need like someone to pick me up. So that's my current goal. I actually spoke with several at QuiltCon, like they came and found me. So
Okay.
hopefully it leads somewhere. We'll see.
I'll cross my fingers because that sounds delightful. And I think that is a good niche because there are some prints from some Halloween lines that I think can be year-round spooky,
Mhm.
but they're still dark and moody. And
Right.
so
And like I love Halloween fabric.
yeah.
Absolutely love it. But I'll tend to not buy it if it says Halloween trick or treat October 31st, like if it's specific Halloween. But if it's like it's spider webs, I'll
Yeah.
buy it. If it's got little ghosts on it or skulls, I'll absolutely buy it.
Yeah.
Like those I will buy if it's not Halloween specific.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In a heartbeat.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I also love Halloween too, but yeah, it's like October 31st. I'm like, I mean, we know when Halloween is. Like, it's
Right.
fine. I don't need it on fabric. So yeah, I get that. But that would be so fun to see. And like you have such a good design eye, and I think that that would be like really fun to see come to fruition. Because yeah, your fabric that you produced yourself is so cool and
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. And so I think like seeing a whole new collection or like more collections come from you and like that are more versatile, spooky but versatile, like
Mhm.
I think a lot of people really love that. And I mean, I know I do. So I think I would be a fan. I'm already a fan. So we'll cross our
Hopefully,
fingers.
yes. Hopefully it'll happen sooner than later.
Yeah, definitely. How cool. Well, thank you so much for being on the show today. Before we go, I want to ask, do you have a tip or piece of advice for our quilty friends listening?
I do, and it's actually a piece of advice I was giving out freely at QuiltCon. So it's
Mm,
not necessarily quilting related, but when you go to quilt shows or any convention really, and you're passing out stickers or
yes.
even receiving stickers, you need to have an incoming spot and an outgoing spot. So for me, my outgoing is my shirt pocket. Like that's what I can just grab stickers and hand them out. And my name badge has a pocket on the backside for all of my incoming to keep them separate. So whether it's, left coat pocket, right coat pocket, or you have it, shirt pocket versus backpack, whatever, keeping them separated just makes it a lot easier. So that is my
Yes.
advice for the day.
Ooh, that's so smart because honestly, it gets chaotic and you're just like sitting there exchanging stickers with people. And then you're like, did I just hand them somebody else's sticker? Like,
Yep.
and I have a system too because I'm like this is too crazy and like that's what my BFF bag that I actually made it for last year's QuiltCon, but I was like I didn't make a new one. Why would I do that? But yeah, my little separate pockets for each, like these are the stickers I'm giving out, these are the ones I'm getting, and it went so much smoother. So
And even if you're not handing out stickers, be prepared at QuiltCon especially. You're going to leave with a lot of stickers. So many
yes,
stickers this year. I absolutely loved it.
yeah, so fun. And people are handing out like pins. I got a couple of
Mhm.
pins, and I got from my Caftan twinsy, she was giving out little gummy bear charms.
I have one. I got a little
Yay.
red one. Yeah.
I got a purple one. It was so
Was
cute. And
that
it was
planned or you just happened to be wearing matching? Okay.
just happened. I had no idea who she was. And
Oh,
then we
okay.
literally walked in that day. We walked into the show floor at the same time. And somebody was like, twins. And I turned around. And I was like, what? So, of course, we had to take pictures because we were like, how the heck? Like, there were
Yeah.
other people with that print in different colorways, but we were like the only ones who had that colorway.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. I was like, well, I don't feel so unique, but also like hers was way more like involved, the pattern she made, and I
Oh,
used the simple pattern that Katerina Rocella has on her blog, because you just literally like fold the fabric in half, cut a neck hole, finish
uh,
it, and then finish the seams on the sides, and then
super easy. Yeah.
sew up the sides, make buttonholes, and that's how you put the waist tie through that. And I left the selvage on the
Okay.
one edge. So I wouldn't have to finish that edge, but also to keep the selvage because it's Ruby
It's
Star and
Ruby
it's
Star.
cute.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, so it was just fun to see all the different variations and stuff. But yeah, that my twinsy, that was so funny. I just like, what a good time. And just seeing all the different versions of ways you can make a super comfortable dress slash muumuu slash kaftan.
Right.
And it was really comfortable. So I feel bad for anybody who wasn't wearing one, but yeah, anyway, but yeah, it gets really like you come away with a lot of stuff from people, which is so fun. But I love your idea of having a system of, in and out, like this is incoming and this is outgoing, and keeps you from getting stuff all jumbled. But fun. Do you have plans for some of the stickers you got of like where you're going to put them?
I have no idea. Like my sewing machine is getting pretty full. My long arm's getting pretty full. I don't
Same.
know. I think I still have stickers from last year too that have not found a spot yet.
I
So
do too. I do too. Cause I'm like, I don't know where to put these. Also, the ones I haven't used are because I don't know who they came from. Cause they didn't, not nobody, but some people didn't put their names or like a
right.
link to their stuff to who they are on their stickers. So I'm just like, I don't really feel like using stickers if I don't know who they came from.
Right. Yeah, no, like stickers from friends and those I know are definitely like priority. They get used first, and then I'll sometimes just use the others as fillers.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you again so much. And congratulations on all the fun success you're finding in the quilt community. And hopefully we'll see fabric from you very soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Chris, and we'll talk soon.
All right.